The sun rose slowly over the quiet camp, and the light touched the faces of 3 American prisoners who had learned to measure time by shadows and hunger rather than clocks and calendars. They sat close together on the hard ground not because anyone ordered them to, but because closeness reminded them they were still human and still alive. Each man carried a different past, yet in captivity their stories blended into one shared struggle of survival, memory, and hope. The first man had once been a teacher who believed words could change the world, and now he repeated lessons in his head to keep his mind sharp, teaching invisible students under an open sky. The second man had been a mechanic who knew how engines breathed and moved, and now he studied the sounds of the camp, listening to footsteps and wind, learning patterns the way he once learned machines. The third man had been young when captured, younger than the fear in his eyes suggested, and he held on to memories of home like photographs kept safe in the heart, because nothing could be taken from there. Days passed slowly and nights passed even slower, and the camp existed in a strange space between past and future where only endurance mattered. Food was scarce and often tasteless, yet every bite became an act of resistance because eating meant choosing to live another day. Silence was dangerous, and so was speaking too much, so the men learned to communicate with looks and small movements, sharing courage without words. Sometimes rain fell and turned the ground to mud, and sometimes heat pressed down so heavily it felt like the air itself was a weight on their backs. In those moments the men would close their eyes and travel inward to places no guard could reach. One man imagined a classroom filled with laughter and chalk dust and sunlight through windows. Another imagined the smell of oil and metal and the comfort of fixing something broken. The youngest imagined a road leading home with trees on both sides and a sky that promised peace. Pain visited often, sometimes in the body, sometimes in the mind, and sometimes in both at once. Yet even pain could not erase the quiet bond that grew stronger each day among the prisoners. They shared strength when one felt weak and shared memories when another felt lost. Hope was fragile, but it survived in small acts like saving a crumb for later, or helping a wounded hand, or whispering a promise that tomorrow might be different. There were moments of fear when footsteps approached and moments of relief when danger passed. Time stretched and folded, and became something the men stopped trying to understand. They learned patience not as a virtue but as a necessity. Each sunrise meant survival, and each sunset meant another victory, however small. One evening as the light faded, the youngest man spoke softly about his home, and the others listened closely, building the picture together piece by piece. That night sleep came easier because shared stories made the darkness less heavy. The camp could control their bodies, but it could not fully control their spirits. Inside each man lived a quiet defiance, a belief that endurance itself was a form of freedom. They did not know when or how the story would end, but they believed it would not end there. Every breath became a promise, and every heartbeat a reminder that life continued even in captivity. When morning returned, the 3 men sat together again, waiting, watching, and holding on to hope. Their story was not just about suffering but about resilience and the unbreakable will to remain human. And in that shared struggle they found a strength greater than fear, and a future worth believing in.